Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. We are doing a full face look today. I'm going to plug in some new products. I'm going to share with you some of my favorites, my current lip combination, a new brow routine that really just kind of blew my mind, and I've been tweaking this routine out and trying it out from seeing some tips on social media that I decided to finally just sit down and try it. And I feel like I'm at a point where I could share it with you and actually talk you through it, so I will share that as well at the start of the video. I'm going to share with you my favorite single eyeshadows, swatch some of my go-to single shadows for everyday looks, and just kind of creating a look because I have to get myself ready today, and I thought, why not turn the camera on, share with you some of my favorites, and talk you through the whole process. So if that sounds good, then just continue watching. We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to do the brows first. So this is what you're going to need. A spoolie. This is one from Revlon. It has a lash comb on one end and an actual comb through the other side that you can use for the brow. So I like the lash side. I think it's actually pretty good to separate your lashes. So you need some type of tool to groom your brows. You're going to need a brow lamination gel. I have been doing this technique for the last week every single day trying to practice, and the one that I've used is the brow lamination gel from e.l.f. You're going to need also a pencil to do the fill-in portion. I have been using my Brow Wiz pencils from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have two shades that I kind of go back and forth. I like to use either soft brown or dark brown. And then you need a brow pen. I tried this with two different brow pens. My favorite from Maybelline, the Build Brow. I love this. And then I also tried it with the new Faux Brow from L'Oreal. Both have been reviewed. This is a new product from L'Oreal that has been out for a little while. This actually is a little different because the prongs are two, so that you can do double the amount of strokes in less time. This one is a little bit deeper than the ash brown shade that I have in the Maybelline. This one I like because it's just that traditional kind of single applicator to do just one hair-like stroke at a time. So what you're gonna do is start by combing your brows, and I use that small side from the tool from Revlon. Then you're gonna take the brow lamination gel. This is, like I said, from e.l.f. So I'm gonna take that out and wipe off some excess. This does have a lot of product, and I feel like it's just a little much sometimes. So here's the thing, you wanna remove the excess, and then this is where it kind of gets a little bit odd for me because I've never done this up until this past week. So I usually do my fill-in first with a pencil, a pomade, a brow pen, and then this will be a final step. But this is actually going to be the first step. So it's kind of, again, switching the way of doing the normal process for me. So I typically go upwards like this and over to set the brow, and that's totally fine. It always works. But what you're gonna do with this technique is you're going to kind of spike up the brows. And I've never done this before. It looks so weird and strange, but you kind of rock your brush and you kind of coat every single brow hair with this lamination gel. And I'm gonna comb this front part up and the arch kind of over, tail end down. And what I feel like this does, it exposes the hair a little bit more so that each hair gets a nice proper coating, each hair gets defined, and there is just something to it that I didn't quite realize until I practiced this technique. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, kind of go over the normal way, and then I kind of go backwards and I kind of rough them up. Looks crazy, super spiky. Get everything nice and coated, and then we're gonna laminate those hairs down. You wanna let this dry for the next steps, which is where the pencil comes in. So I'm gonna let this kind of hang out for a little bit, and then I'll come back and kind of start doing the fill-in process and show you how that's done. I feel like the brow lamination gel is dry enough. This one still feels like it's kind of starting to feel completely dry. This is the side that we're gonna start. I'm gonna go into that pencil now. I chose to use the dark brown shade out of the two, and this is the Brow Wiz. So it's got a spoolie on the end to help comb through the brows, but this is a very fine, tiny point, and you can find these in lots of different brands, even drugstore ones. This is just the first one that I started using when I practiced this technique, so that's why I'm using it today, because I just feel like I'm comfortable doing this with this pencil. From here, what you want to do is draw a line underneath, right at the base of the root of your eyebrows. So I'm going to continue that line, and I'm going to follow the shape that I have underneath. I'm going to take my time with this just to make sure that I am not bringing this line too low. Doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes I feel like when I put too much of the lamination gel, it's hard for me to get the pencil to transfer over that. So I try to just go over it a few times in little strokes to create a line. And I'm going to start kind of flicking upwards and focusing on the areas that need a little bit more attention. So this part right here through my brow is fine, but right in through here I have little gaps. I have gaps here. So just upwards flicking motions to kind of fill in the little blank spots basically. A little bit up here and then here. So that already has given me quite a bit of a shape, and I have barely applied product. So I feel like this technique kind of helps me scale back because I can always go overboard with my brows. I always like a nice full in, filled in brow where there are no sparse areas, you don't see any gaps, and it requires more product. And then it tends to look sometimes a little dark, very bold. And I've enjoyed that look and it's been fine. That's how I've been doing my brows for years. But this technique, I feel like, I don't know, it just kind of looks a little softer, right? And then I'm going to go into my pen now and I'm going to show you how I use this. So for this, I'm not going to use this to fill in the brow entirely. I'm just going to go in over the little gaps where I can see my skin still showing through in between where the hair has the brow gel, if that makes sense. So I have little gaps where I can see my skin showing through. And when I'm using this pen, I am barely just kind of grazing my skin with the tip of the applicator. It almost kind of feels like a very subtle, slight kind of tickly sensation there. That's the amount of pressure that I'm applying. And I'm holding it a little further back. That allows me to have less pressure. If you hold it really close, you're gonna put more pressure from your hand onto the actual skin area. So I'm holding it back and just barely grazing it where I can feel the product going onto my skin. And that's what I love about this specific brow pen from Maybelline, is that it doesn't take a lot of work to get the ink to flow from the component in through the brush end. And it does transfer, and it's like a sheer light wash of color. So it's really hard to overdo it with this pen. So this is what I've got going on. This is the lamination done, the pencil, and a little bit of fill-in with the brow pen. I like to take a brush with a little bit of concealer. I tend to use the NARS concealer that comes in a little pot. And I just like to clean around the edges, go underneath, and just quickly showing you the difference. This is the before, and then this is the after. Quite a bit of a difference. This definitely needs to be filled in. This is completely dry now, so I can go back in and do that. But I thought that that technique was pretty cool. Like I said, I've been practicing this technique every single day for this would be day 7. And I feel like I've got it down a little bit better. Day 1, not so great, but I wanted to plug that into today's video because I thought that was actually quite helpful. And I feel like that could be a very easy, like, go-to brow routine for me going forward. What do you think? Do you like the end result? Before and the after. I think it's better. Brows are done, so let's go ahead and move on to the next steps. I'm going to actually work on my base complexion. Off camera, I did apply my eyeshadow primer, which is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. And now we're going to use some of the Maybelline Jelly Primer. This is actually something that I have already reviewed. It's a really nice jelly, kind of pore filling and pore minimizing type of primer that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. And I have a video all about the new Maybelline products. So if you haven't seen it, I will link it. The card somewhere around this video will kind of pop up some other helpful videos that you guys can watch if you haven't seen it already. But this fills in the pores, makes them look smoother, which is something that I'm concerned with, especially in this primary zone here. And then I do take what's left on my fingers and run that across the forehead, between the brows and the chin. For foundation, I'm going to go to an oldie but a goodie, one that has been a staple in the makeup industry for many, many years. I discovered this foundation from Estée Lauder a few years back, and it's one that I reach for in the summertime a lot. It's the Estée Lauder Double Wear, the Stay in Place makeup. Since this foundation is a little bit light for me right now, I'm going to add the Conceal and Perfect Bronzing Drops from Milani in the shade 130, which is the darkest, deepest shade. I'm going to mix both of these. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of the Milani, ever so slight, just the smallest amount. I'll show you exactly how much I'm going to use. I don't need this color of foundation to be that much darker. So I'm just taking a dot, just a tiny little bit. I'm not squeezing it too hard. I'm just kind of tapping the applicator onto the back of my hand. I'm going to use a lot of the foundation. In this shade, the 1N0 is fine. I can pull it off even without mixing it, but having a little extra hint of something really makes this color much more doable for me throughout the year. When it's summertime, I do need to add quite a bit more since this is a little bit lighter. So for the foundation, I just take my middle finger and I go over the bottom, tip it over, and that's the amount that I take out. I'm going to do that twice on the back of my hand. And with my finger, I'm just going to incorporate the Milani bronzing drops right into that. And like I said, it's going to be an ever so slight change in color, not by much. And I'm going to use my fingers to start spreading this onto my skin. And the reason why I'm using this one today is not only because it's great. I do love this foundation. I think it's wonderful and it does wear so well. Never looks dry, heavy, cakey. But they have a new concealer, the Double Wear Concealer. I've tested this out a couple of times already and it's good. Very, very good. I'm going to take my BK Beauty 106 brush that looks like that. And I'm going to start blending this in right over the Jelly Primer from Maybelline. I just love this foundation. I think it's so, so beautiful. So now let's go into this concealer. Let's talk about it. This is actually very new for the brand. And I think that they may have repackaged or reformulated one of their existing concealers. And I have the shade 1N. It's a little light. I feel like I could have used one that's just a hair, like a shade darker, but it's okay. I've been wearing it every day since I got this. I ordered it from the Ulta site and it is so good. So the applicator, let me show you that it is huge. It's kind of like a paddle shape. It's that doe foot material that you typically see in concealers, but it has a nice little shape to it where it actually holds quite a bit of product, and the very tip has just the slightest little curve, and you got to look really close at it to be able to see that there. It's a very good concealer. Looks incredibly beautiful, wears so well throughout the day. Of course, duh, it does. It's part of that double wear. That's one of the things that we love about double wear is the fact that it wears so well and it doesn't fade, it doesn't move around, and it's just a beautiful formula. And now we have it in the concealer and I love it. I did not try the old double wear concealer in the past, but I'm happy I have the new version. So I'm going to go in with my damp beauty sponge, and I've been using the technique of the damp sponge and the brush. So I'm going to do the sponge on one side, completely blending it in so that you can see the difference. It's really nice either way. You can use a damp sponge, you can use a brush. On this side, I'm going to use a brush. This is the A506 from BK Beauty, and I'm going to use that to blend and stretch this amount out and go right underneath the lashes, right in this inner corner with the brush. This outer corner that I have some discoloration, bring it onto the lids a little bit and bring it up to create that lift. And then I also like to take it and go on the side of the nose, kind of bring it down just a little bit lower and kind of blend it into the foundation. This is the side blended with the brush, and then this is just the sponge. So what I've been doing is using the brush first and tapping it out and then going back in with the sponge like this to help kind of continue blending that product out. And I just am so used to using the sponge that I find myself integrating it anyways, even if it's not really necessary, and doing the same thing on this side, kind of blending a little bit more with the brush, bringing it up this way to create that lift, to get that inner corner, and then the sides of the nose. Such a beautiful finish and has the right amount of coverage where it doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey. It actually doesn't crease. I didn't use a whole ton of it, so I didn't have issues with creasing. The first time I used it, I kind of left it alone, went and did other things in my makeup routine, came back to look at it before setting it, and I had barely any creasing. It's actually a wonderful formula to blend, has that coverage, and like I said, this wears so well throughout the day. I am loving this so much, and I'm so glad that I finally got it. Now we do need to do a little bit of setting. I always set my under eye with some sort of loose powder, so I'm going to do that and show you the next steps of my routine. For the under eyes, I'm going to use a light pink powder. This is the new ones from L'Oreal. These are the Fection powders. This is the light pink with a puff sponge. I'm just going to press that right over that Estée Lauder concealer. Then with that same puff, I'm moving to the translucent light, also by L'Oreal, the Infallible Fection powder. Translucent Light is the one that I like to use if I'm going to use setting powder over my foundation. That's the one. Not so much this pink one. I use just the pink for the under eyes. I think it's a nice one that brightens and also blurs. But I like the Translucent Light for the rest of my face. And one of the things that I love about this powder is that it does set quite nicely the foundation or the concealer. It never looks heavy. It doesn't look like there's just too much product. It blurs and it keeps everything nice in place as a loose powder should. And you can also use this as a finishing step if you want at the end of your routine to kind of lock in everything. But I like to use it directly after applying my foundation. Next up for bronzer, this will be no surprise. I can't stop using this drugstore cream bronzer. It's actually a very good one and it compares to my high-end formulas. It performs honestly better than the high-ends that I own. And I have some very expensive bronzers in my collection and I just keep coming back to this one. This is a Milani Cheek Kiss. It's perfect. I have the shade number 110, Hey Honey. Use my e.l.f. Duo Complexion Brush. Get you one of these. This is a must-have kind of brush for bronzer, for powder, foundation, blush, highlight, concealer, you name it. It can do it all. And it's $8. It's so affordable, easily accessible. It's great. And this bronzer never does me wrong. And what's so great about this cream bronzer from Milani is that it just blends easily. It's not something that has a lot of learning to do. You can easily pick this up with very minimal makeup skills and do it fine and not have any issues with it. I'm blending this directly over set foundation with loose powder and it's transferring from the brush onto my face. It's blending, again, over powder. It's just one of those that you just cannot mess up. It's so user-friendly. They have several different shades to choose from. Hey Honey is a perfect shade for more fair skin or light skin tones. They do have some darker ones for medium skin, tan, deeper skin tones. I actually want to try the next shade up for the summertime. I think that would be really, really beautiful. I want to do a little bit of powder bronzer. So for this, I'm going to go into the NYX Buttermelt bronzer. This is the shade number 02, All Buttered Up, and it's light, medium, warm. And I do like this formula. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, which really is pretty when it goes onto the skin, the way it lays down on top of your foundation. It gives you just ever so slight kind of sheen. It's like a light, healthy kind of glow. It's not super luminous. It's not glittery. And it smells so good. It kind of reminds me of that kind of tropical vibe, similar to what Physicians Formula does with their bronzer. So I'm going to use a little bit of that with the BK Beauty 107 brush, which I love, for bronzer. So for this formula, it's very pigmented. The same goes for the Buttermelt blushes. You really only need to tap your brush in once or maybe twice, working that in the back of your hand, tap off that excess, and then apply. You don't want to go overboard with bronzer, especially something so pigmented, because it is harder to take away than it is to add. So a little bit goes a long way, and that amount is sufficient to do the whole face. Like, they're not messing around with this formula. For blush, I'm going to reach for the cream blush from Sigma. They were so kind and generous. They sent me a package with several different Sigma Beauty products to try and to share with you guys if I wanted to incorporate them into videos. And one of the products was the cream blush. Now look at this packaging. It's a light kind of iridescent pink. And I did try to wipe it down because you could see like the fingerprints from touching it with the makeup on my hands, but so pretty. This is the cream blush in Pashmina. So it's written on the back. It's a really pretty shade, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll cover the mirror not to blind you there. It's a really pretty kind of corally shade. And since I haven't done my eyes, I thought, why not do a little bit of something kind of spring-like, a little summery on the cheeks. To blend that in, I'm going to use the round tapered powder brush. This is the PD8. This is from the Profusion brand. I got this in a set a while back, and I like this small size for cream products. I'm just going to tap right over the bronzer with that blush. Ooh, that's pretty. It's like a nice, soft, kind of corally type shade. Oh yeah, this will be perfect for spring and for summer. Do a little bit on this side. So far it's blending out nicely. And like I said, I've never tried their cream blush formula. So I was excited when I opened the package and I saw that they included that. Do need to add a little bit more, but this is a little bit more applied so you can see the color a little bit better. And then here is just a little softer, a little lighter, and I definitely see a little bit of a glow. Not any shimmer or radiance or luminosity, but just the finish of the blush is just a little bit more glowy, just a little bit more dewy. That's it. A little bit more dewy. kind of healthy, really pretty. I'm gonna go pick up some more, going directly in with my brush. Whoa, that's bright. Let's wipe off that brush a little bit more. Now we get to do something with the eyes today, and I wanted to show you guys these. I ordered these from Ulta recently. These are the Sparklestix from Half Magic, and these, I fear I have found the best cream glitter shadow stick of all time. These are beautiful. So I'm going to show you the ones that I ordered. So let's start with the first shade, Beige Mystique. These are part of their new launch for the shades. Some of them are older shades, so they did a shade extension. So Beige Mystique is one of the new ones. Look at how metallic and intense that is. Stop, right? Beautiful. The other new shade is Princess Teddy. This one's a little bit deeper, a little bit more bronze. I'll swatch that one for you. So here is the Princess Teddy. I actually had that one on very recently. I don't know if I filmed that day. And it was really beautiful. It was super sparkly, lots of glitter, and it didn't fade, it didn't move. It was just sparkles all day long, and I loved it. So this other shade is Fauxbot. This is part of the pre-existing line, so this is not a new launch for shade. This is just one of their existing colors that I thought would be kind of cool. That's that Fauxbot. Look how pretty that is. Nice kind of smoky gunmetal color. These are stunning. So I wanted to show you guys that because if you're looking for a shadow stick that has some sparkle and some glitter, Half Magic is where it's at. I love these. I love shadow sticks in general. I have tons of them, like an excessive amount actually. And I love their single shadows that come in these little recyclable little pouches like that. You can kind of dispose of it and use the shadows in like a magnetic palette. I haven't quite done that yet, but they do have some really beautiful kind of pigmented shades, and this color here is so beautiful. It's called Wet Pebble. I wore this in a video before, but it honestly feels like a cream. I mean, what? These are beautiful. Now, equally as beautiful are my favorite shadows, singles from Kiko Milano. So they sent over a package, a very generous package, and I'm so thankful because they sent me over more water shadows. So I had purchased some of these on my own, and I actually did a video on my favorite ones. And I used them in tutorials. I used some of these for like a quick and easy look that I did. I think it was back in December. And you guys have loved these. You purchased so many of them and you guys sold them out. And then it came back in stock at Ulta. These are beautiful. They're incredible. And I can't help it. The shade number 200 is the one that I've been wearing on repeat. Look at that. And I wanted to share this with you because I am just obsessed with these. Look at that. So beautiful. And that's dry. You can wear these dry or wet. So that is the dry swatch. But if you wet your brush or spray it with some Fix Plus or setting spray after you pick up the product, it's going to be like liquid metal. So they sent over, like I said, very generous. So thank you, Kiko, for sending these over my way. They sent me 6 more shades. And I'm like a kid in a candy store when I look at these. I just can't help but just want to put them all in my eyes. So they sent me so many to play with. I obviously can't use them all in today's video. You'll see some of these in future videos, but let me just show you some of the shades. 03, it's a really pretty soft gold shade. So pretty. Perfect for the holidays. They sent over shade number 1, which is a classic silver. Oh, it's so pretty. So, so pretty. I love these. Number 07 is like a kind of like a warmish orangey shade with a little bit of a golden shift to it. Do you see that when the light turns and it catches the light? Oh, so pretty. Shade 11 is another one that they sent. This one is like a really pretty deep plum, like a burgundy shade. Beautiful for like a one and done smoky eye. And then they sent over shade number 18. Stop. Look at that. Such a beautiful green color, but it's like the right tone of green that could be wearable year round. Like that's just dynamite. So I have purchased several of these on my own and then the ones that they sent over, and I just can't stop looking at them. They're so beautiful and the packaging is really, really nice. This is shade number 15. This is one that I bought myself. It's like a nice deep chocolatey brown, has some depth and smokiness to it. These are the older packaging, the one that looks like a square. So I bought these myself from Ulta. 200 is my favorite, my absolute favorite. Out of all of them, that's my girl. Shade 201 is equally as beautiful, but this one is a little softer, a little bit more scaled back, like a hint of color, but not too much eyeshadow with a little bit of mascara. Easy, quick look. I love it. I'm here for it. And then here is shade number 6, which I believe that was one of the ones that they sent. So I kind of mixed them all, my whole collection of them, but look how pretty. This is shade number 6, and I think I'm going to use this one today. So let's start building the eye look. I'm going to go back to that Buttermelt bronzer that I used earlier on my face. I'm going to use that to carve out the crease, and I'm going to use a BK Beauty 212 brush, picking up just a little bit of that, tapping off the excess. And I'm going to sweep this back and forth, just following the natural shape of my eye to add a little bit of color, a little bit of structure and dimension to the eye, because we're going to use one of those Kiko single shadows that they sent over. And I really don't want to add too much to take away because those are stunning. Just you wait. Just you wait. I'm also going to take a little bit of that same bronzer with a different brush and run that on my lower lashes. And this brush is the 207 from BK Beauty. Love this so much. I actually have multiples. Such a great brush for creating a smoky lower lash line. And again, like I said, I'm just using that same bronzer. Now for the eyeshadow on the lids, I'm going to go into one of the Kiko shadows that they sent over. This is shade number 6. It's stunning. Like, look at that. That's a dry swatch. And I'm going to apply it dry so you can see. If you wet this, it's going to be just dynamite. So I'm going to use my ring finger and I'm going to press that onto my lids from inner corner to outer corner. And I'm going to build this up just a little bit. And you can see how easily you can do a simple look. It's one eyeshadow. Yes, we use the bronzer, but that's the same one we use on our face. So eyeshadow wise, it's really only one. Look how beautiful. That shade did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. It has a bit of a sheen to it because we use it dry, but when you dampen your brush, you really elevate the finish of this. And let me show you. So you need an eyeshadow brush. Load up your brush with the product. You don't want to spray any liquid directly in there. You could if you want to. I don't like doing that, and that's just personal preferences here. I'm going to load up my brush first, and I'm using just a simple Morphe M709. It has a little bit of a point to it, which is perfect for getting in the inner corner. Really nice brush. So load up your brush, and then you're going to get a setting spray. I'm going to use just the Urban Decay All Nighter. I have the little mini. You want to spray your brush and kind of get it damp, and I'm going to swatch this on the back of my hand so you can see. I'm going to do it right on top of the other swatch so you can see how beautiful this is. Here's the swatch of that shade. So this is 06 using the damp brush technique to really elevate the finish of it. And then right next door is the same shade swatch, just dry with my finger. So you can see a difference. It adds a little bit more depth, a little bit more intensity, and it elevates that metallic finish that it has. But look at how beautiful. But I think that's pretty cool. It kind of looks like it's two different shades, but it really isn't. And I just love it. So I'm going to use a little bit of that with that damp brush. I'm going to tap off any excess, and I'm just going to pat right over the top of what I did to elevate that first layer. And do you see how much darker that looks compared to this side? So, so beautiful. You need some of these. If you love metallic finish shadows, you need them. I'm going to finish this eye look off with a little bit of eyeliner. I'm going to use the NYX Epic Ink liner. This is the shade Milk Chocolate. It's a nice deep dark brown. It has that kind of depth where it almost looks black, but it's not. So that's why I'm going to use it to go with this color. I think it'll be perfect match with this eyeshadow. And then for the mascara, it's going to be the L'Oreal Big Deal Mascara. While my mascara dries, I'm going to move on to my lip combo. So I've been doing different lip liners with this specific lip product that I'm going to show you in a minute. So I'm going to use the Lip Cheat in Pillow Talk Fair. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. But I've also done this with the new lip liner that I purchased recently from Rhode in the shade Lift. And also the Traced Out lip liner from Fenty in the shade Thugs Blush 2, which is number 02. So either one of these would work. But I'm going to use the Pillow Talk Fair. It's like my lips, but better type of shade. So I'm going to line my lips. I'm going to overline just a little bit as well. And then I'm going to top that off with a matte lip. And you're probably thinking, if you've watched my videos, you don't normally wear matte lips. I don't typically like the liquid lip formula. The classic old school formula has never been a favorite of mine. But I think that Anastasia Beverly Hills has done something very different and very special with this formula. This is the Lip Velvet, so it feels exactly like the name suggests. Velvety, soft, pillowy, whipped, moussey, and I just love this. This shade is called Kiss, and I love this for every day. The packaging is beautiful. The applicator is the right size. That doe foot applicator is perfect for applying the product. It has a bit of a dip, so kind of like a little reservoir that holds the product, so you don't have to go back for more. And this works so well over the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner that I just applied, or one of the other ones that I showed you earlier. And this wears so well, and it is so incredibly comfortable that this is my go-to matte lip formula. I won't use anything else because this is so comfortable, and I love a good gloss. I love that hydration, and this is the opposite of that, but it's still very comfortable. So let me show you. The shade Kiss is stunning. Watch. Look at how pretty. So pretty, and I believe this was the shade that Anastasia herself, the creator, founder, CEO of the brand, said that was one of the most popular sold shades, and I believe that was over on TikTok. But it's beautiful. I've worn this before. I've shared this before with you in a previous video, but I have rediscovered my love for this because it's just so comfortable, and I love it. And it goes with everything, even with today's eye look or something a little bit deeper, smokier, something more cool tone, a little bit more warmth as well. It's a shade that doesn't really compete or clash against anything that I choose to wear for the day. So that's another reason why I love this specific shade Kiss so much, because it is the perfect everyday look. And we are done. What do you think? I love how everything turned out. I'm using a lot of formulas and products that I truly do love. I have tested out that concealer from Estée Lauder a few times before filming today's video to really give you my thoughts. It's phenomenal. I love that concealer. It's going to be definitely a go-to. And the pairing of that concealer with the foundation is beautiful. You don't have to put the two together. Of course, you can mix and match your brands, but that concealer is solid, and I love it. And I think that you would love it too if you are looking for something with more full coverage. If you like that double wear quality, check this one out. I will link it for you, and I will also write down my shade in the description box. As far as everything else, the whole look I feel like came together beautifully. Using some of my favorite bronzers from the drugstore, my favorite go-to lip combination at the moment, those single eyeshadows. Yes, this is a new shade for today, but the formula, I'm very familiar with it, and I absolutely adore this formula. And if you have not tried these Kiko single shadows, what are you waiting for? They're so beautiful. They have so many shades to choose from. I'm going to link my favorite ones down below. Big thanks again to Kiko for sending those over, and also thanks to Sigma for the package that was sent. I appreciate it very, very much. And I can't end this video without thanking you, my lovely subscribers who are watching my videos. It's because of you that I get the opportunity to receive PR packages in the mail. And if it weren't for you, the support, watching my videos, being here with me every single Tuesday and every Friday, I would not be given those opportunities, so thank you. It's because of you that I get to share products that are sent my way. Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next video that will be posted very, very soon. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss when an upload gets posted. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do post there periodically. My username pops up on the screen here. I hope to see you there. Take care, you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.